So in this video, we are looking at the smoking jacket, what they are and what makes them so cool. The term smoking jacket is linked very much so with the concept of black tie. Often get conflated, confused and mixed up. I blame the French. In French, a tuxedo is called a smoking and they call a evening shirt a smoking shirt. So it does get confused. But it's bigger than that. This garment here, these are both my own personal garments, which I'm sharing with you today. This is from the last century, and it's a modern take on a 19th century smoking jacket, a smoking gown. In the 19th century in England, tobacco products became very fashionable, and gentlemen of a certain class of an evening after dinner would enjoy tobacco. But as we know, tobacco leaves a smell and you get damage from ash. So you want to protect your expensive evening clothes from the smells. So what would we do in the 19th century? Of course, we replaced with something equally expensive and elaborate to show your wealth. Velvet, as this is here, has a property of absorbing smoke. So why it was very practical to wear for smoking. You'd also perhaps wear a smoking cap to protect your hair. Smoking cap hasn't really caught on the same way as a gown. So this would have been an evening garment to change into. So if we think about the 19th century, the gentlemen were wearing a version of white tie and tails, and the gentlemen would have gone to the smoking room, put on their gowns and enjoyed their tobacco products. In the 20th century, we're seeing the rise of black tie, and if you're interested in the white tie, black tie history, it's a great video right here. And with black tie being acceptable, which is the less formal version for evening wear, it became very acceptable for the host of a party or the dinner to be at home in his smoking jacket, or sometimes called a house coat. You often see this in fashion plates from Esquire from the 30s, where the host of a party or the dinner party would be wearing his smoking jacket. Now this would have been probably more in style with what I have here. This is more like a dressing gown, which is where the style started. It's long, a wrap waist, tie waist, very natural shouldered, very, very softly tailored. So anyone who thinks that soft tailoring is a 21st century Italian invention, it ain't so. But this is probably closer to what I first knew as a smoking jacket. It has a continuous shawl collar and it has frogging, usually in velvet. This one's in black watch tartan, and typically they were double-breasted. When I first got into the menswear trade in the 90s, and shops that were selling smoking jackets were the likes of Thermes de Lassa, Hackett, Sulker, I think. And they were double-breasted, shawl collared with braiding, and then this frogging detail and this quite elaborate cuffs. And they were still seen very much for an at-home garment, but we did start to see them being worn, certainly by the 2000s, to be worn out and to occasions. Around the same time, we started to see evening slippers being worn on the red carpet and not just for at home. The frogging comes straight from military tailoring. If you look at a lot of dress uniforms in the army, particularly, they often have frogging on them. So you can see there's definitely a military influence onto this garment. But I feel that I noticed when I was at Eden Ravenscroft in the 2000s that the smoking jacket was becoming quite popular, where men wanted something a little bit different from their traditional black tie. And we were noticing they were being worn for parties, for red carpet events. So I introduced this. This was a single-breasted smoking jacket, which looks quite classic to people's eyes now, but I remember when I introduced a single-breasted smoking jacket in the 2000s, it was seen as a little bit incorrect, and if you're going to be absolutely strict about it, it is. But I felt people wanted something without all the extra fabric, a little bit easier, and these are the sort of garments you could wear, like I say, to parties, you wear red carpet events. But I'd still say either of these garments, if it's a conservative black tie dinner, I would always err towards a black or midnight blue dinner jacket. The classic colours would have been midnight navy, burgundies, forest greens, and then the more modern colours I'm seeing coming through are things like chocolate brown, purples, black not so much. It can look very elegant, but I tend not to encourage black velvet for a smoking jacket. If you have a family tartan or you have an estate tweed, making a smoking jacket is a lovely way of wearing it. They're also quite comfortable. If you're in certain environments in winter, if you're in a country house, for example, they can be quite cold wearing something which was a little bit cozier and warm is a lovely thing to do for an evening. I mean, I find this exceptionally comfortable to wear. It's as comfortable, it's a very soft chest, it's very comfortable on the shoulders, it feels nice to wear. And are they cool? There's something about them. There's something as an old 1930s actor, you was saying with Fred Astaire. There's something about the golden age of cinema where you'd have these fantastic, very glamorous leading men in their smoking jackets, and then the idea of the smoking jacket as the millionaire in sort of films and things. It's kind of an association of someone who's slightly debonair and sophisticated, and it's a little bit dress up, but you can have fun with it. I also feel, although they are very much in my mind a version of black tie, neither of them are intrinsically black tie. They are changing for the evening, for smoking, but this, for example, would look equally appropriate if you were wearing white tie and you're changing for smoking, or if you're in your day clothes and you wanted to have a cigar, why wouldn't you put your smoking jacket on? So they don't just make sense as a form of black tie. This jacket, for example, I've really enjoyed wearing. I've worn it for black tie parties, but I've also worn it for less formal dinner parties with grey flannel trousers and a black cashmere roll neck and some evening slippers. So if you are looking for something for evening wear, I was actually more inclined to invest in this part of my wardrobe than my straight black tie, because I knew I could get a lot more wear out of this and have more fun with it. Anytime I sort of go away for the weekend and it's going to be somewhere cold, I tend to pack that because it's cozy and it's fun to dress up. So I hope you found that interesting. It was great fun for me to bring some older pieces out of my wardrobe and share with you. I hope I've inspired some of you to maybe try something different for the evening, maybe twist on black tie. As always, let us know in the comments below and hit that subscribe button.